Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a truly uh, unique deep dive.
Yeah.
Our source material isn't, the usual research paper or news report. It's actually a gripping 1958 pulp novel.
Oh, interesting. Which one?
It's called Man on the Run by Charles Williams.
Right. Okay.
And you might ask, why a fictional story? Well, because narratives, especially thrillers like this one, are just fantastic laboratories for exploring these universal human themes.
Like what specifically?
Like how quickly misinformation can completely derail a life, the surprising ways alliances can form, and just the sheer ingenuity needed to chase down truth under, well, immense pressure.
Indeed. Yeah, this kind of deep dive into Man on the Run, it can really show us how even seemingly tiny details, things you might overlook, can unravel a much larger truth.
Exactly.
And how perception, which is often fueled by, let's face it, incomplete information, can dramatically shape real-world consequences.
So our mission for you, the listener, is basically to extract the core insights from this really desperate fugitive's journey and the surprising truths he ends up uncovering.
Mm-hmm.
As we journey with our protagonist, Russell Foley, he's a merchant marine officer, suddenly accused of murder.
Mm-hmm.
We're really asking, how does just one piece of misinformation snowball like that into a full-blown manhunt?
Right.
And what does it actually take, in terms of both cleverness and maybe just sheer luck to untangle such a messy web?
It's a compelling question, definitely. And Foley's story, it really provides a masterclass in making decisions under, well, extreme duress.
Okay, so the story just plunges you right in. Foley literally leaps from a moving freight train in a place called Carlisle.
Wow, okay. Straight into the action.
Totally. He's soaked, muddy, already on the run, and just racing against daybreak. The police, they're already hot on his trail.
Why so fast?
Well, not just for the murder he insists he didn't commit, but because they found a brown hat near the tracks with his initials, RF, and skid marks. Pretty clear signs he jumped from that specific train.
Ah, circumstantial evidence right from the get-go.
Exactly.
And that immediate, visceral sense of desperation you mentioned, it isn't just for, dramatic effect in the book.
Right.
No, the narrative really conveys the physical and the psychological toll of being a fugitive. You feel the cold, the exhaustion, the constant fear of being seen.
Yeah, it's palpable.
It's a really powerful illustration of how panic just distorts everything, your perception, your decision-making. Under that kind of pressure, but the rational hunt for truth, it often just gives way to raw survival instinct.
Which is a crucial insight, right, when you're evaluating any high-stakes situation, whether it's in a novel or, in your own research.
Oh, absolutely.
So Foley desperately needs refuge. He spots what he hopes is an abandoned summer cottage. But it's not empty.
Uh-oh.
And this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. He's discovered by the owner, Suzy Patton. She describes herself as a has-been writer, very cynical, sharp.
Okay.
And, as Foley quickly realizes, she's also heavily intoxicated. He actually finds her unconscious from carbon monoxide poisoning.
What? How?
She'd driven her car into the attached garage, left the engine running, maybe intentionally, maybe not, it's unclear at first. But he pulls her out. He saves her life.
Wow, so that raises a critical question, doesn't it? Why would someone like Suzy, with her own life, her own career, even if it's fading, why help a total stranger accused of murder?
Good question.
That accidental near-death thing and Foley saving her, that creates an immediate bond, sure, an accidental one, but still.
Yeah, it's intense.
But her later explanation, she says she's just bored or a written-out writer. That hints at something deeper, doesn't it? Deeper motivations for getting involved in something so risky.
But she needs a story.
Maybe. Maybe it's not just altruism. Maybe it's a need for a new narrative in her own life. It happens.
So Foley, he's desperate. He needs her help. He explains everything. He talks about the brutal fight he had with this detective, Charles Stedman.
The victim.
The victim, yeah. Turns out Stedman was having an affair with Foley's estranged wife. Big mess.
Oh, okay. Motive. Right there in the police's eyes.
Exactly. But Foley swears Stedman was alive when he left the apartment. He just panicked later when he heard Stedman was found dead from a knife wound, importantly, and he fled.
So the fight wasn't the cause of death?
According to Foley, no. He then tells her how he lost the police in the rain, jumped on that freight train. The whole escaped.
So what's immediately established here is that core conflict. Is Foley a killer, or is he just an innocent guy caught in this nightmare of circumstances?
Right.
Because his panicked flight, combined with the police showing up so quickly after he left Stedman's place, I mean, it points strongly towards guilt in their eyes.
Looks bad. Really bad.
It perfectly illustrates the power of circumstantial evidence and how easily it can lead to misjudgment if you, or in this case the police, don't dig deeper.
So Suzy's first move for Foley is pure pragmatism. Just get him out of the immediate danger zone.
Liked it.
She literally hides him, get this curled up on some blankets, in the trunk of her car for the drive from Carlisle to a town called Sandport.
In the trunk? Wow, okay, she's all in.
Pretty much.
That active participation, it really shows a critical shift in her character, doesn't it? That initial cynicism seems, well, maybe it's tempered by intrigue now.
Or maybe fulfilling that need for adventure she mentioned.
Could be. It's definitely an unusual partnership born purely out of necessity, which shows how these unlikely alliances can just form when people are thrown together by crazy circumstances.
So once they're in Sandport, they start trying to gather clues. And Suzy makes this brilliant move. She calls Foley's friend, Red Lanigan, owns a bar.
Okay.
She cleverly pretends to just be a friend of Foley's, trying to get information about the night Stedman died, but without giving away Foley's location, obviously.
Smart. How does she do that?
Her genius for code comes out. She tells Red, tell Foley A.H., which stands for her real name, Amelia Holly Patton, a little sign only Foley would get.
Nice. Very pulp. I like it.
Right.
And this is where you see the power of what researchers call weak ties in information gathering. Well, often it's those seemingly peripheral contacts in your network, like Red here, who hold the crucial information you need, not necessarily your closest friends.
And Red delivers. He confirms Foley's story about the fight.
Okay, corroboration. Good.
He mentions Stedman buying champagne the night he died, suggesting Stedman was expecting company.
Uh-huh. Not his wife, presumably, given the affair.
Presumably not. And Red introduces two new, really crucial elements. First, a mysterious, stacked brunette Stedman was seeing.
The company.
Maybe. And second, the recent, quote, suicide of Stedman's police partner, Detective Jack Purcell.
Ooh, a partner's suicide right around the same time. That sounds convenient. Or suspicious.
Very suspicious. These disparate pieces, when you put them together, they start painting a very different picture.
Definitely.
So armed with Red's description of the brunette, dark brown eyes with a lot of moxie in them, shiny black hair.
Yeah.
About 5'5", one of those smoky-looking babes. Quite the description.
Yeah, very 1950s.
Foley, now in disguise, Suzy provides conservative clothes, a new top coat and hat, from her ex-husband's trunk.
Resourceful.
He tries to find this woman at her workplace, the Shiloh Machine Tool Company.
Okay, this highlights Foley's determination, but it's also incredibly dangerous. He's walking right into the lion's den, potentially.
And you're right. The narrative reminds us of the risks. Foley follows the woman, Frances Celaya, home, and he gets ambushed by her and a large, brutal male accomplice.
Ambushed. Oh, boy.
He gets shot.
Shot. Is he okay?
Miraculously, yeah. Get this.
Yeah.
The bullet is stopped by the New Yorker and Fortune magazines he happened to have stuffed in his briefcase.
You're kidding. Magazines saved his life.
Unexpected shield.
Wow. That incident, it's such a powerful example of how chance and, I guess, preparedness intertwine. It wasn't just his determination. It's these tiny, insignificant details, like what you carry in your briefcase.
Yeah, pure luck almost.
And it also shows us that in investigations, real or fictional, the danger often ramps up the closer you get to the truth. It's a pattern you see again and again.
So, despite being wounded, Foley manages to escape. And he escapes with Frances Celaya's alligator purse.
He grabbed her purse in the middle of all that.
He did. Quick thinking, maybe desperation. Yeah. Inside, he finds her old address on her driver's license. Not much help there, but crucially, a charger plate slip.
A what? Oh, like an old credit card receipt.
Exactly, for nylons from Waldman's department store. And that gives him her new address, 1910 Keller Street.
The breakthrough moment, Foley's resourcefulness, even injured and then stumbling onto that charge slip, that's pivotal.
Totally changes the game.
It just underscores how these small, seemingly insignificant details, things most people would ignore, can hold vital information. It's a classic example, of how overlooked data points can unlock a bigger mystery. We see it in data analysis, detective work, all the time.
So what does Foley do with this new address? In a really desperate, almost reckless move, he calls Lieutenant Brannon of homicide.
He calls the police while he's wanted for murder.
Yep. He gives Brannon Frances Celaya's name and workplace. He explicitly says she was in Stedman's apartment and that she tried to kill him. Foley.
Wow.
He doesn't give his location, obviously, but he implicitly connects himself to her, points the finger.
You called it high stakes before, and this absolutely is. I mean, from a critical thinking perspective, it's a massive gamble.
Huge.
He knows he's the prime suspect, yet he's trying to redirect the entire investigation, just hoping the police will at least consider his claims about Celaya.
Was it smart? Or just crazy?
Well, given his situation, maybe it was a calculated risk born of just utter desperation. It shows that sometimes the only way forward is to try and, well, manipulate the system from within, even when you're completely outside of it.
So while Foley is recovering from being shot,
Right, the magazine incident.
Suzy takes center stage.
Mm-hmm.
She starts doing her own research, hits the library, pours through old newspaper files, calls a friend she has on the police beat.
Ah, so she's not just the getaway driver anymore. She's investigating.
She's fully invested now.
And her methodological approach, that's remarkable. She's synthesizing these seemingly unrelated events. What does she find?
Okay, so she connects a few things. First, that payroll robbery at the Shiloh Machine Tool Company, Francis Celaya's workplace, remember?
Right, December 20th.
Yeah, where a masked gunman was killed and $14,000 were stolen. Then, a liquor store holdup shortly after, identified by the owner as a guy named Danny Bullard.
Okay.
Danny Bullard was then killed by Detectives Stedman and Purcell on December 22nd. Apparently, he was resisting arrest.
Stedman and Purcell again, the partner who later committed suicide. This is getting tangled.
Exactly. And finally, she looks into Purcell's official suicide on January 28th. She's looking for patterns, connections the police might have missed, or maybe even deliberately overlooked.
Smart. Putting the pieces together.
So what does this all mean when Suzy connects these dots?
Yeah, what's her theory?
She hypothesizes that the police, Stedman and Purcell, were dirty. They were involved in Danny Bullard's death. And Danny Bullard, he's the brother of Ryan Bullard.
Who's Ryan Bullard?
Also known as Ernie Boyle, the large, brutal guy who ambushed Foley with Francis Celaya.
Ah, the accomplice. Okay, it's clicking now.
And Danny was likely involved in that Shiloh payroll robbery. So Suzy thinks Stedman and Purcell either killed Danny deliberately for the stolen payroll money, or maybe they found the money after a justified shooting and just decided to keep it. Either way, this leads Francis Celaya, who Red Lanigan said was completely gone, on Danny Bullard and Ryan Bullard, his brother, to seek revenge against the cops.
That raises a really powerful question, doesn't it, about justice versus corruption. Was Danny Bullard's death justified self-defense by the cops, or was it a cold-blooded murder by crooked officers who then stole the money?
The book leans which way?
The narrative seems to lean towards Stedman and Purcell maybe having a justified shooting initially, but then succumbing to the temptation of the cash, which makes the motive for revenge incredibly potent for Francis and Ryan. They'd feel cheated, wronged, seeking payback.
It's a classic driver, that need for retribution when you feel justice wasn't served.
Absolutely, a fundamental human drive.
So Foley gets another lead. From Francis Celaya's wallet, remember, there was a phone number linked to a fishing boat named Marilyn.
Okay.
He figures this must be connected to Ryan Bullard, Ernie Boyle. He infiltrates the boat, finds him on board.
Confrontation time.
Big time. After a really brutal fight down in the dark engine room, the police suddenly arrive.
How'd they know?
Another crewman, Raul Sanchez, alerted them. During the fight, Boyle gets shot by the police.
So Boyle is taken down. That's the dramatic climax then. A tense fight in the dark, highlighting Boyle's brutality.
Yeah, it's intense.
And the fact the police arrive right then and shoot Boyle, it allows those final, crucial pieces of the puzzle to fall into place. It's kind of a desperate ending, but it ties all those seemingly disparate threads together. Often, in these high-stakes situations, it's some external event or coincidence that brings the resolution.
And this is where the absolute truth finally comes out. On his deathbed, Ryan Bullard gives a full statement.
A deathbed confession. Classic. What does he say?
He confesses everything. That he and Francis Celaya plotted to kill both Stedman and Purcell for revenge over Danny's death and the stolen money.
Okay. Confirms Suzy's theory.
Completely. And he confirms Francis Celaya personally killed Stedman with a knife after Foley had already left the apartment that night.
So Foley was telling the truth all along.
Yes. And Francis also personally killed Detective Purcell later, staging it as a suicide.
Wow. She was ruthless.
Absolutely. And crucially, Bullard states he himself was out at sea on the Maryland when Stedman was killed, which definitively proves Foley's innocence in Stedman's murder.
That deathbed confession is the ultimate aha moment. Full exoneration for Foley reveals the whole conspiracy.
Right.
And it highlights the extreme lengths Francis Celaya went to for revenge.
So,
And the terrible irony, Foley inadvertently created the perfect opportunity for her to kill Stedman and frame him.
just by being there earlier.
It just reminds us, that truth often emerges from the most unexpected places. Even the most careful deceptions can unravel because of one unforeseen confession or event.
So Foley's cleared of all the murder charges. He only faces minor stuff like assault from the fight with Stedman, resisting arrest, and snatching Francis's purse.
Pocket change compared to a murder rep?
Totally. And Lieutenant Brannon, the homicide detective, he's just weary from this whole intense manhunt. He even offers this really pragmatic solution.
What's that?
He suggests that if Foley's company, Southlands Oil, gets a tax break they're looking for, maybe they'll give Foley his old job back and ship him out on the next tanker, let the whole thing quiet down, let the police department get back to normal.
Fascinating. That reveals so much about the underlying pragmatism of law enforcement, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Once the truth is out, the major case closed, the focus just shifts. It's less about punishing every little thing and more about restoring order, moving on.
Yeah.
Efficiency over absolute justice for every minor detail sometimes.
And it's also just a stark reminder of how quickly an innocent person can get caught in that seemingly inescapable legal trap just because of circumstance and panic.
Exactly. Terrifying, really.
So with his name cleared, what's the first thing Foley does? He immediately tries to find Suzy Patton again.
To thank her or...
He's actually worried for her safety. He assumes Ryan Bullard, before he died, might have targeted her for helping him. He races to her apartment, even runs into the building manager he'd lied to earlier. Awkward.
Right. So the reunion, is she okay?
She's fine.
Yeah.
But the reunion is, well, you called it almost anticlimactic, and that's perfect.
How so?
Suzy seems completely unfazed by everything that just happened. Foley finds her back at her typewriter, totally absorbed in her writing again.
Look, nothing happened.
Pretty much. She's indifferent, almost dismissive of Foley's concerns about her safety. It's like she's fully embodying that bored, written-out persona again. The life-or-death drama seems completely overshadowed by her return to her creative work.
Wow. So that leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
Sure.
Was Suzy's help genuinely about caring for Foley? Or was it just a thrilling story for her own life, a temporary escape like we speculated?
Yeah, exactly. What was her real motivation?
Her focus just snapping back to the typewriter. It's quite telling.
So Foley, seeing this, he just leaves her $100 on the table for the hat and coat she gave him.
Okay.
And he laughs this poignant little note. It says, "Dear Suzy, this is for the hat and coat. Thanks a million for everything. And I hope the Southern girl who hides the injured Union soldier is just half as nice as you." Irish. Irish was his nickname.
A reference to her writing, maybe? It's the story she was working on?
Seems likely. He leaves, just wondering if he'll ever really get used to being free again. And if he'll ever see Suzy again.
That ending, it really provides a powerful thought on human connection, doesn't it? And motivation.
For sure.
Maybe some individuals are drawn to chaos, not for justice or a lasting bond, but just as a temporary distraction. Or maybe even as raw material, inspiration for their own creative work.
It challenges that easy assumption that every heroic act is purely altruistic.
Right. It leaves us considering the really complex web of reasons why people help each other or why they get involved in the first place.
What a compelling deep dive that was, though, into the world of Man on the Run. Just fascinating. From a guy fleeing for his life to becoming an accidental detective, all driven by that desperate need for the truth.
Yeah, it really was. And it leaves you with a powerful thought, I think. How often are the small, seemingly unrelated things in our own lives, or maybe in any complex problem you face, how often are they actually connected? By some hidden thread of motive and consequence just waiting for you to uncover it.
That's a great point. The next time you find yourself buried under a stack of information dealing with complexity, remember the insights you gained from this deep dive. Maybe you too will uncover those surprising connections, see the hidden narratives within your own sources.